This is an organization where everyone in here has their heart and soul in the work that we do.
If you think about the development of theories around the prison industrial complex, some parts of those theories come out of here. If you think about the Family Bill of Rights, it come out of here. If you think about protocol for pregnant women prisoners, it come out of here.
I would say that my happiest moment is every single time a woman is released from prison, just knowing that the work that I'm doing helped to lead to her getting justice.
The mission of Legal Services for Prisons with Children have a primary focus of women in prison. We focus on children and families and communities.
LSPC started 30 years ago. It was started by one woman who had a brilliant idea, Ellen Berry, and she decided she wanted to provide legal services to prisoners who had children. Started with direct services, divorces, visitation, child custody, guardianship, a lot of immigration work. Moved on to class action lawsuits when there was no way to keep up with the direct services.
You know, some of the cases that we have fought have been around stuff like health care for women that weren't being addressed by anybody else.
And that resulted in a huge class action lawsuit in 1995, Shoemate versus Wilson.
We as inmates did not want a dime. All we were asking for was proper medical care for each woman.
So we worked on these class action lawsuits and then moved on to working in the state legislature, fighting for the rights of incarcerated women.
The Joint Legislative Committee on Prison Construction and Operations is now in order. We're here to address the issues that are unique to women as inmates.
My name is Beverly Henry. I'm a prisoner at CCWF.
My name is Teresa Martinez. I'm HIV and Hep C co-infected.
And you got HIV positive women, women with AIDS, women with cancer, women with all these things standing out here in the rain in the winter getting a bag of non-narcotic meds.
Women prisoners under attack! What do we do?
Act up, fight back!
Over the course of years, our function has evolved. And what we started doing was advocating for policy change.
Our demands are compassionate release now for dying women prisoners.
Yeah, that's right.
We actually were part of legislation that banned shackling of pregnant women being taken out to county hospitals so that they were able to give birth without shackles, which was an enormous victory.
We actually put more advocates on the street. We actually did grassroots organizing, and we shifted the focus to meet the changing times.
And now we have several projects that create the whole of LSPC. We have the Habeas Project, Older Prisoners, Family Unity Project, All of Us or None.
The Habeas Project is a collaboration that works to free unjustly incarcerated survivors of domestic violence from California prisons. The women that we work with were mostly charged with crimes 20 or more years ago, and the crimes that they were convicted of were related to their experience of being abused by an intimate partner. So they may have killed their abusive partner, or they may have participated in a crime or confessed to a crime because they were being coerced by their abusive partner to do so.
So he would start beating me with the bullwhip. He would make me lay down, strike me on my legs, my back. Mainly on areas I could easily cover up with clothes.
We advocate for them to be released from prison because they didn't have the opportunity to have expert testimony during their original trial proceedings. So now the Habeas Project works to connect survivors with pro bono legal teams who can represent them and tell their stories for the first time to these courts in a way that'll make a difference and hopefully lead to their release from prison. Since its inception in 2002, the Habeas Project has led to the release of 23 domestic violence survivors. Brenda Klubine was the 20th woman to be freed by the Habeas Project. Her first full day of freedom, she went to the beach. Right now, there are about 65 survivors of domestic violence who are still incarcerated and have legal teams and are working towards their freedom. Our future goals are really around getting these survivors out of prison.
All of Us or None is a civil rights organization. It's a grassroots movement of formerly incarcerated people.
And our mission is to fight against the discrimination that we face coming out of the prison system.
Money that you get released from prison with, the $200. When I got released back in 1976, I got $200. And now this is 2004, and they're still giving you $200.
We deserve, we demand opportunities for our lives.
I think that one of the biggest accomplishments that we've made is that we've made Ban the Box.
The ban the box is that question: have you been convicted of a crime? Have you been convicted of a felony? Have you been to prison? Have you been to jail?
Generally, when people see that box, formerly incarcerated people just give up. They don't even apply.
It's quandary for felons who have done their time, trying to find a job and being faced with an application that asks for arrest history. Tonight, there's a move to change city employment applications in San Francisco and get rid of the dreaded box.
We won in San Francisco, and we've taken the campaign to Alameda County. We have won there. Ban the Box in a different form has also taken place in other cities.
The state of Minnesota banned the box for the entire state. They actually acknowledged All of Us or None as being the ones that spearheaded it. And it feels good to be recognized as people that have led, the way.
Voting is one of the most fundamental rights that's taken away from people when they go to prison. The ACLU and All of Us or None collaborated on a really effective billboard, bus stop poster, and postcard campaign that used the pictures of All of Us or None members and quotes from us about our right to vote.
As a formerly incarcerated person, there's no way to better help oneself than to help others.
5197, come on, get it.
Initially, when we started doing the bike giveaway, we were contacted by people in prison who asked us to give away the bicycles to let the children know that they loved them.
Come on here, homeboy. Why don't you read this number off for me?
So formerly incarcerated people get together and we give bikes away to children in impoverished communities.
This is not a job. This is our life. This is our passion. We do it because we know that if we don't do it, no one else will.
My hope for the future of All of Us or None is that we'll create a powerful political movement where people who have been in prison actually have their rights restored.
The Family Unity Project, we do work around retaining or restoring the parental rights of incarcerated parents and helping incarcerated women with issues related to their parenting or their children. Our mission is to make sure that our families and our communities stay together. I am responsible for answering prisoner letters, but I don't give direct advice like our attorney, Carol Strickman. And what Carol does is she answers questions that they have about families. It could be anything from visitation to custody to child support or DNA testing. We also monitor the mother-infant programs. These are programs that allows mothers who have young children to spend part of their time in a community facility with their child rather than spending all of their time in the prison facility. We go out to just check on the mother-infant programs and make sure that the women are being properly taken care for and that their children are being properly taken care for, because we almost lost a couple of children because of neglect of staff members at one of the mother-infant programs. My own personal experience motivates me to do this work. While incarcerated, I one day got a letter in the mail that told me that I was going to lose my parental rights. And I was so angry and so upset with the system that I was determined to start an organization
that already had been in existence for almost 30 years to do this work. So I sent the information to, I sent Shirley a copy of my report from 2007, which she wanted. This is my dream job. This is an organization where everyone in here has their heart and soul in the work that we do.
That's great. So does she have a sense of when all of this is going to be done?
There's no one standing over my head degrading me if I make a mistake or I don't know something. Everybody just jumps in and fills in for everybody, and we're all determined to make a change in the prison industrial complex, and just being here and being a part of that fight is just an awesome feeling.
We're in the loop, but the loop isn't moving.
Okay.
Probably at least in the work of East Palo Alto.
Even the medical stuff at Alameda County, if we could.
I think this place represents people who basically maintain their ideals. The ideals that justice should exist. The ideal that we didn't need to put so many people in the cages. The ideals that we didn't need to execute people. The ideals that people shouldn't be tortured. The ideals that we shouldn't go to war. The ideals that people are equal regardless of gender or sexual preference or any of that other stuff. We maintain that here.
LSPC is unique for really a lot of reasons. I think that the single most important is that all of our work is really determined by the needs and the desires of people who we serve.
There's a lot of elderly women in here that have suffered.
They won't give you vitamins.
Getting to see the doctors is almost impossible.
The Older Prisoner Project here at Legal Services for Prisoners with Children came as a result of women inside talking to us about the horrible things they were witnessing happening to the older women in prison. And so we worked with the women inside to develop a report that was a launch pad for this campaign. It's rooted in uncovering what is a day in the life of somebody who's growing older in prison like. What is it like for you to stand and chow 3 times a day? What is it like for you to stand for count? What is it like for you to climb onto a top bunk? You know, it's not rocket science. You know, what is your grandmother able to do at her age? And so we have many, many recommendations from let's have a geriatric parole policy for low-risk aging seniors. Let's think about maybe having specific policies to meet their unique needs. Like, you know what, once you hit the age of 55, you can qualify for a lower bunk. Or you can qualify for a very specific type of job. So you're not 80 years old working on the yard crew hauling rocks for 8 hours a day. Several of the accomplishments of the Older Prisoner campaign that I am most proud of is the fact that we have built some very unique, strong, and unlikely alliances with other organizations and people that don't see prison work as part of their work. So the fact that AARP is talking about this issue, the fact that the California Senior Legislature took this up as one of their major issues, the fact that we have been the organization that has managed to get a geriatric parole bill introduced twice, I'm very proud of that work.
And I never went anyplace nationally that when I sit down and talked about our work, that people didn't know that we contribute to the cause.
We have several pieces of work that really cross the project boundaries. We have a very active intern program.
I've seen her name before.
Yeah. And we work hard to really give them the type of training that means that they can become activists and advocates when they get out of school.
That's on the 10th. I'll get signed up for that today.
We also have been working very hard on media.
And today, advocates are saying reformed offenders need to be given a second chance.
Media is a huge part of LSPC because we have to be able to get our message out there to the people.
If they can't keep us locked up in jail, well, guess what? They came up with something to keep us locked up in our house.
A group of Oakland activists say they don't like the way former prisoners are treated in their city.
Radio, newspapers, television, interviews, press releases. You know, for me, the biggest goal is for us to try to reach as many people, new people particularly, with our message so they know that we're about. If people know what we're doing and what we're about, I think that it'll help to shape how they vote and how they think, or even to make them think.
LSPC has done groundbreaking work over the 30 years that we've been around.
And it's a scary thing thinking about 30 years of history in relationship to a recession. you know, and I think that we'll survive the recession. But how we survive the recession, it means that we got to be much more dependent on people who have the same value stepping up and helping support this ship. People have an opportunity to support their value by actually contributing financially to the well-being of an organization that have fought for women, fought for children, fought for poor people, and fought for people of color.
We have made many strides, and we're just doing an awesome job, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it.
LSPC rocks.